Arsenal may be able to get a big deal done by the end of this month, June 30th. And I know I've been the one saying, patience everyone, I don't think this window is going to take off as quickly as last season's, where we had Havertz, Rice and Timber basically through the door within the first month, it felt like anyway. I've been preaching patience and saying, let's just wait and see. However, there is a deadline in place that could see Arsenal potentially get one of their top targets in earlier than even I was expecting. And this is because of PSR rules. Let's start by just telling you the news update which came from Sky Sports, saying that 6 Premier League clubs are facing having to sell players before the end of June to comply with profit and sustainability rules. Those clubs are Chelsea, Villa, Newcastle, Everton, Forest and Leicester. Now this post has since been deleted. I will just say that. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's the wording, but I haven't also seen a retraction of the statement. So as far as I'm aware, that is still very much the case. And actually, I'd heard it from multiple sources anyway. Now, just to remind everyone what PSR means, and yes, I'm going to read it from my laptop. Profit and sustainability rules are designed to control spending in relation to revenues and currently allow clubs to make losses of up to £105 million over a 3-year period. Now, we can all debate the, what's right, what's wrong about that. We know that there's stuff going on behind the scenes, that people aren't really happy that clubs are finding themselves in this situation. That's fair enough. Am I the most researched on it right now? No. So I'm not going to pass comment. When I am, I absolutely will. Something feels wrong about a club like Aston Villa getting Champions League football, Newcastle doing the same a year ago, and being under the sort of financial pressure that they are. But that's a discussion for a different day. What this has done, if we are to quite cynically take advantage of the situation, is provide Arsenal with opportunities to do business in the market. And we know that Arsenal are looking for a backup goalkeeper, a potential left back as well, a midfielder of some sort, whether that be a 6, 8 or a 10, whatever profile we're looking at, and a forward as well. Again, could be out wide or could be an out and out number 9. We've been heavily linked with Benjamin Sesko and I've done a breakdown on him as well. But I want to focus on the midfield area because there are some really good players that we could actually take advantage of this opportunity and try and sign before the end of this current month. So it could all happen quite quickly. Let's go through the players, starting with one from Aston Villa, and that's Douglas Luiz, because he's 26 years old. He's a 6/8. He's right-footed. He's 5'10". And I've gone with an estimated fee for all these players, and I've gone for 60 million for Douglas Luiz. Now, let me just say that flat out, I actually think if Villa are to sell someone in this window, it's probably going to be Jacob Ramsey because of the fact he'd be pure profit and he's been in and out the team. Douglas Luiz is an experienced player, a regular in that side. They've just got Champions League football. It's not like his contract puts him under pressure in any way to be sold. It's really just the fact that they need to sell someone by June 30th, maybe multiple players. I'm not quite sure of the details. But Douglas Luiz is someone we have looked at. He is someone that Arteta and Edu have looked at and wanted before. We made bids in the past for him of around £25 million. If they feel he's the most sellable asset in terms of getting a real big chunk of money, I'm not really sure who else is outside of Ollie Watkins. Maybe Villa will bite the bullet, do that one deal there, and probably do it for around 60 million. I'd be amazed if any club pays more than that. That's why I've kind of gone for that fee there. He scores goals, certainly at Villa Park. He's been really, really prolific, and Arteta knows him well because he used to be on the books, at Man City. So I'm interested to see what happens with Douglas Luiz. I think ultimately he stays, and like I said, Jacob Ramsey is probably the most likely one to leave Aston Villa. Let's talk about Everton player Amadou Onana. He's the youngest on this list at 22 years old. He's a 6/8, I'd say, defensive midfielder. I prefer him more as a 6. He's a really good tackler as well. That's why I kind of prefer him in front of the back four. He's right-footed. He's 6'5", which certainly matches the criteria of signings that Arteta's added recently to the team. And I've gone for an estimated fee of around £50 million, just because, again, when I'm talking about an estimated fee, I'm not so much talking about what the clubs are wanting for that player. I'm also talking about what clubs are willing to pay. I don't really see many clubs agreeing a deal of more than 50 million for Onana, especially if Everton are under, pressure to sell by this point. And you've got to think, if you're Everton, you're probably thinking, why don't we sell one player and get that 50 million in, rather than sell a couple players and actually deplete the squad a little bit more. Onana is playing in a position where they've got other players like Garner, like Idrissa Gana-Gueye, Doucouré. So they're okay there, Everton. I know he's a top player. I know they want to get value for him, but that's why I think there's a little bit of a market opportunity there. Arsenal have reportedly made contact with him, according to Fabrizio Romano, but again, it feels like just an early first phone call. It doesn't feel like anything too advanced, but Arsenal have reportedly been interested in the player for a while, and even I think wanted to sign him 2 years ago in the summer of 2022 before he joined Everton. So again, someone that Arteta and Arsenal have liked before. He's the tallest player on this list, I mentioned. He's the youngest player on this list. He's a good tackler, and he's the only player on this list as well that has been really genuinely linked with Arsenal with regards to this summer. So let's see if Arsenal could do that. I think of everyone on this list, that is a deal that could very possibly happen, because it's a profile we probably need in midfield, especially if Thomas Partey is to leave, but let's see if he does. Next option is Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, he's 24 years old. I've got him as an 8/10, but really he's the only 10 on this list. He's the only player that wants to operate between the lines, be really creative. You see that in his 10 assists he got in the Premier League this season. He is a player who can make things happen in the final third. He's 5'10". I think an estimated fee of 35 million might have been a bit generous. Maybe 40 to 45 million is more likely to get the deal done. And like I said, on this list, he's the only real creative player. And what you do if you sign a Morgan Gibbs-White from Forest is you essentially get him playing in the pockets with Ødegaard a little bit more in build-up, and Rice, you're basically committing him to the 6 long term. That's what I think is more likely to happen if you go from Morgan Gibbs-White. I really like the player. He's skillful, he's direct. He's also taken on the role of being the main man at Forest before, and I know it's quite a jump being the main man at Arsenal. I'm not expecting him to be that, but be someone who can shoulder responsibility, who wants to take risks and make things happen. I think Arsenal could do with a right-footed creative profile in the squad, especially if there's doubts around what's going to happen with Emile Smith-Rowe. And Gibbs-White, I think, has just thrived whenever I've seen him. Certainly for Forest he has. So I like him a lot, and actually that's a deal I would love to see Arsenal do. I'm not sure we will, because I don't think he's high up on the priority list in terms of midfielders, and we're more likely to go for others. But if they see him as an opportunity, I wouldn't mind that at all. I like him a lot. Now, promoted side Leicester have Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in their squad at 25 years old. He is just flat out 8 for me. I wouldn't play him as a 6. I wouldn't play him as a 10. The other players I mentioned, it's not just their versatility, I'd very happily see them in any one of those positions. Dewsbury-Hall, I'd want to see him very clearly as the left 8. That's for me where he's best. Now, if you watch him at Leicester, he's good on the overlap, underlap. He, uses that left foot well. He's a very, skillful, silky passer of a ball. Very neat player. He's left-footed. He's 5'9", so he's actually the smallest player on this list, and you're probably getting him for the cheapest price of around £25 million. Again, signing him commits Declan Rice to the 6 long term. And he's also player of the manager, having been with Enzo Maresca last season, who is now the new Chelsea manager. He's player of the manager with a slightly similar philosophy, so that's an interesting thing there as well. Could he slot in quite easily to our midfield? But of all the options, he's the one I think we're most unlikely to go for, even though he's the cheapest. Or actually, he's not the cheapest. He's the cheapest from within the Premier League. But I do have another player to put forward now. Not much more to add on Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I'm not convinced it's a deal we'll even look at. He'll probably go to Brighton if he goes anywhere. They've been strongly linked with him. In fact, the player I want to talk about is Youssouf Fofana. Now, I know you're all going, who? He's not in the Premier League. I know he's not in the Premier League. He's been balling out of Monaco for a while. He's 25 years old. He's a 6/8. He's right-footed. He's 6'1", and I've gone for an estimated fee of 20 million. But why does he present a potential opportunity in this market that actually doesn't end by June 30th? And that is the fact that his contract expires in the summer of 2025. So he's in his final year. He's in his final year, and that makes him much more readily available, because it's sell him now for Monaco or he goes for nothing next season. Now, the contract running down, something I've just mentioned, he's a powerful player. He's a big player. He's strong. He's got that 6-foot frame and build as well. He's a really, really good passer of a football as well. He is someone that could sit as a 6, pass between the lines, but also drive forward. He's clearly a very comfortable ball carrier and a risk taker as well. The Cannon podcast did a really good breakdown on him. I really invite you all to go watch what they had to say on the Cannon podcast, because it was a really good breakdown from George and Alex in particular. But I think if you want to learn more about him, point in that direction. But this is a player that at £20 million, he's been doing really, really well for Monaco and Liga, and he's someone that actually might present really good market value for Arsenal, and someone who kind of, again, if Partey's to move on, is that physicality, that frame, that presence that we potentially need in midfield if we're going to lose that kind of profile, but also doesn't necessarily commit Rice to the 8, because Fofana has shown an ability to get forward, get goals from distance, and show really good creative passing and line-breaking passing and inventive, scoop balls over the top in the final third to get Arsenal, or Monaco, but could get Arsenal into more exciting areas in and around goal. if he were to join. So he's got that sort of pass range in his locker. So I'm really interested to see if we go for a Youssouf Fofana type as well. He presents another opportunity on the market as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I haven't got Guimaraes in this list. Why? Because quite frankly, for me, even if Newcastle are under pressure to sell by June 30th, you're paying 80 million for him. He's that good. So I'm not sure he counts as an opportunity. Now, we'll just round off this video by saying that I know it's another transfer related video, and a lot of this summer is going to be that I will try to do pieces on the lives of Ethan Nwaneri and look at other angles and other stories within the world of Arsenal, but that's just where we are, unfortunately, with the transfer window. The one thing I won't do is feed you guys any BS. I'll give you some ideas, I'll give you some thoughts, and I'll try to be as accurate with the reporting as possible. If there's anything that I just think don't get your hopes up, like with my recent upload, I will tell you, guys, I'm not sure this is one to get too excited about. But we will be doing live streams, live streams on this channel as well, covering any breaking news, like big breaking news, like when big things are happening, not just related to transfers, but anything in the world of Arsenal. We will do breaking news live streams as well, so you can all interact and give your thoughts with what's happening live as it happens in the world of Arsenal. There we go, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed this. Go check out my video as well on my dream window, where I talk about Frankie de Jong, the midfielder I really want to add, and a few other players that would make my dream transfer window for this summer. Would love to know all your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that video if you're interested to know a little bit more, and I'll catch you all very soon.